Dominantly ACC schedule, but UVA has some unfamiliar faces coming to Scott Stadium this Saturday. The Wahoos and NC State have only faced off once in Bronco Mendenhall's UVA tenure, a 14-point loss down in Raleigh in 2018. But this will be the Wolfpack's first trip to Charlottesville since 2011. And with that, we welcome in now the ball hawk, Ahmad Hawkins, as we do every week, to take a look at some X's and O's in this game. And now, Ahmad, it's been quite the start for Brennan Armstrong this season. First in the ACC and 8th nationally in total offense per game. But you could also say it's been a slow start for the UVA offense. 0 points in the first quarter through the first 2 games. Ahmad, what are some of the keys to kind of jumpstart this offense early in games?
You know, the keys is just executing the scripted plays. Majority of the time, offensively, you come out with 10 to 15 plays that you're set to run because you anticipate a certain coverage or a certain front from the defense, and you just want to execute. And the main thing is we haven't been finishing. And as you said, no points in the first quarter in 2 games. That's unacceptable because that's putting your defense behind the 8 ball. If you look at our 2 games, we fumbled on special teams, which is uncharacteristic, and then we give up a big return that kind of flipped the field versus Clemson, another thing that's uncharacteristic. So we had 2 things that worked out against us, but I will say it is encouraging to see as the game progresses, our team starts to execute that much better. But you don't want to be put behind the 8 ball where you're always fighting out of a hole, because that causes you to press, and sometimes that causes you to get away from your game plan.
Maybe some short throws early on, also running the ball. That was one of your keys against Clemson, and for the O-line to step up, and it really wasn't a bad day out for them. The Wahoos actually outrushed the Tigers on Saturday. Now, this NC State defense, on the other hand, has allowed more than 4 yards a carry this season. 3rd worst in the ACC, that's behind Duke. So how prevalent do you expect the run game to be on Saturday? Maybe a little bit more of the Wayne Shane train.
Yeah, it should be prevalent because the thing about it is you want to stay balanced. And again, Brendan, this is only his 3rd start. So you don't want to continue to have to rely on his arm and rely him to be accurate consistently just yet. You want to be balanced. You want to have the chance to get one-on-one coverage on the outside and in the slot, and it starts up front with the ability to be committed to the run, because our offensive front, they've been getting a nice push. They've been getting low and nasty. Our backs have been demonstrating that they won't get tackled for a loss. They have great vision. They do good after the contact. So it's all about our commitment. And Brennan himself, he was successful last week running the football as a quarterback, as we saw with Bryce Perkins for the past 2 seasons. So it's all about the commitment and the plan to be physical up front.
For UVA's defense, Trevor Lawrence, he did his thing last week, and what are you going to do? NC State, meanwhile, is averaging 33 points per game, which is actually 28th in the country. So do you see UVA defense returning to the form we saw against Duke this week, or could we have a shootout on our hands at Scott Stadium?
NC State's comfortable with having a shootout because they want to generate explosive big plays. They don't really want to methodically move the ball down the field versus Pitt. They benefited from a lot of penalties, whether it was, offsides on Pitt's defensive line or pass interference, because the quarterback gives their receivers all the opportunity to make plays on jump balls, those 50-50 balls, and the quarterback is so accurate throwing back shoulder that he involves the refs to feel like they have to become a part of the game. So our defensive backs have to be very sound of getting their head around and locating the football, because that last drive versus Pitt, NC State demonstrated ability to get explosive plays, to get key 3rd downs, if that rings a bell, because we didn't do well in the 3rd down situation. So it's going to be a battle of moxie, because they can run the same formation and have about 5 different plays out of the same formation and the same flow. So it's our ability. We have to have the ability to read our keys, be very disciplined, and finish and get off the field on 3rd downs.